When the stampede occurred at the kindergarten, Withdrawal rushed to save his first love son, forcibly prying his daughter's hand away from his. The last glimmer of light in his daughter's eyes, who had always longed for a father's love, extinguished after I desperately saved my daughter. She looked at me calmly and said, "Mom, I'm willing to leave Dad with you. Let's go to a place where he can never find us." Her words stunned me for a moment, followed by an overwhelming heartache. In the past, his daughter had loved Withdrawal the most. Despite his rare appearances throughout the year, he never offered a smile to his daughter. After learning that Withdrawal had never forgotten his first love, I once gently asked my daughter if she would be willing to leave with me. Every time it was mentioned, my daughter would cry and say to me, "Mom, Tong Tong loves you and also loves Dad. Can we not be separated as a family, for the sake of my daughter?" I have been enduring without getting a divorce. Today, however, my daughter took the initiative to say she wanted to leave with me, clearly heartbroken by Withdrawal. Looking at the scar on my daughter's head, my heart ached like a knife, and I tightly held her in my arms, my voice trembling as I said to her, "Okay, Mommy will take Tong Tong away, and from now on, no one can hurt Tong Tong. Since Withdrawal doesn't like us, then we won't need him anymore." My daughter softly said, "Mom, tomorrow is Tong Tong's birthday. Can I celebrate one last birthday with Dad before I leave?" Okay. I know she still holds a glimmer of hope for her father, although Withdrawal is not close to his daughter. He accompanies her every year on her birthday. He would give his daughter a limited edition Hello Kitty doll, which has never changed. Every year on this day, he would post an update, a photo of the doll, a few words. The first year, the second year, it was much like a father who deeply loves his daughter, carefully noting the time she came into this world. Because of this, the daughter always held on to her expectations for Houghton. I also comforted myself with the thought that he still loves us. But it wasn't until 3 months ago that Withdrawal's first love, Su Yue, returned to the country. Only then did I realize that what Withdrawal had recorded was not our daughter's birthday, but the time Su Yue left him. Even Hello Kitty was liked because of Su Yue. From start to finish, my daughter and I held no place in his heart. I opened my mouth several times, yet I still didn't tell my daughter this cruel truth. Forget it. Just this once. Let my daughter believe that her father still loves her. As I exited the consultation room, I happened to bump right into Withdrawal. The one who let go of his daughter in a moment of crisis was now carefully holding Shernan. Beside him was Su Yue. Withdrawal walked while softly saying something to Su Yue. If Withdrawal were not my husband and the father of my daughter, I would definitely envy this family of 3. Su Yue saw us first, her expression smug, and she pretended to be surprised as she spoke. "Is it Xiao Yan? It's been so long since we last met. I've missed you so much." I truly admired Su Yue's acting skills. Clearly, 3 months ago, she couldn't wait to find me and show off as soon as she got off the plane. Tell me that all these years, Withdrawal has always loved her. Advise me to be sensible and take the initiative to divorce Withdrawal. But now, she pretends as if it's the first time she's seen me. Well, after all, she was already such a good actress back in college. In college, I once regarded her as my best friend, completely open with her. I fell in love with Withdrawal at first sight in the student council. Troubled about how to confess my feelings to him, Su Yue urged me to write a confession letter and volunteered to deliver it for me. I had no doubts about it. Letters were sent out one after another, but there was never a response. Before I had time to feel disappointed, he had already become Su Yue's boyfriend, but Su Yue had hardly seen him a few times. Her understanding of him came entirely from my descriptions. Before I could recover from the shock, I learned from the teasing of my friends in the club that their relationship had originated from those letters of confession. I went to find Su Yue for an explanation, but she was unusually calm, looking at me with an innocent expression as she spoke. "Although we met because of your confession letter, Isn't it my face that he likes? I was left speechless. In one night, I lost my best friend and the person I loved the most. I had no choice but to go abroad to heal my emotional wounds. After graduating and returning to my country, I heard that Huitingan had fallen into despair because his company faced a major crisis. And Su Yue had abandoned him to marry someone else abroad. I couldn't bear it and voluntarily became an assistant by Huitingan's side. Later, the company's operations gradually improved. After a night of revelry at the celebration banquet, I found out I was pregnant. Huitingan disappeared for a week, and when he returned, he threw a ring at me. He said that an abortion is harmful to the body, so why not get married instead? We got married just like that, without a ceremony, without wedding photos, only a marriage certificate to prove this relationship. 5 years after the wedding, Huitingan never mentioned Su Yue. I thought he had long forgotten her, but it turned out that the reason he didn't mention her was not because he didn't remember, but because the imprint was too deep. Mentioning her once would bring him pain once again. Now, Su Yue has returned, and he has finally gotten his wish. This irrelevant person, should also exit the stage. Huitingan saw the scar on his daughter's forehead and, for once, felt a bit guilty as he spoke to her. Tong Tong, Dad didn't mean to leave you behind today. He said that, but his hands holding Shernan did not move at all. The daughter looked at Shernan tightly held in her father's arms and Su Yue standing close to Huitingan. There was envy in her eyes, as well as grievance. But in the end, she just held back her tears and shook her head. Tong Tong knows that Shernan Gij doesn't have a dad, so she needs to care for him more. Tong Tong understands. Huitingan recognized that this was something he had once said to his daughter, and for a moment, he was taken aback. Shernan's schooling was arranged entirely by Huitingan. Fearing that others would bully Shernan, Huitingan donated a library. He tacitly allowed everyone to misunderstand that he was Shernan's father. When his daughter started school, he forbade Tong Tong from revealing their relationship to anyone. For 2 years of her schooling, he had never picked her up or dropped her off, nor had he ever attended any of her class activities, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Shernan rallied the other kids in class to isolate and bully Tong Tong, calling her a wild child without a father. Tong Tong cried and begged Huitingan, hoping her father would come to school to pick her up and tell everyone that she had a dad, and that Shinan's dad was actually her dad. Huitingan refused. Shernan Gij doesn't have a dad. He's already very pitiful. Does Tong Tong still want everyone to misunderstand that Shernan Gij is lying? Tong Tong, you're already 5 years old. You should be more understanding. That's exactly what he said to his daughter back then. At this moment, the same words coming from his daughter's mouth sounded somewhat harsh to him. He wanted to hug his daughter, but as soon as he moved, Shernan was already in his arms, crying out, "I want Daddy Hua to hold me." Huitingan immediately held Shernan tighter, gently coaxing her. "Nan Nan, be good. Don't be afraid. Daddy Hua is here." That tone was gentle and patient, like a father who loved his child dearly. But in reality, his own daughter had never felt his paternal love. Now she could only stare blankly at him holding another child, with the wound on her forehead. After a long while, Tong Tong finally lowered her head with red eyes. Su Yue spoke up, her intentions all too clear. "Qiao Yan, you mustn't misunderstand. Tingyan is only being kind to us, the orphans and widows." Because I tightened my grip on my daughter's small hand, forcing a smile at the corners of my mouth. It is only right for Hua to care for his employees. Su Yui's smile froze on her face. She tried to hint at her closeness with Huitingan at every turn, but I refused to let her have her way. Su Yui's eyes were filled with resentment. She shot a glance at Shernan, and Shernan began to whimper and speak. "Dad Hua." Nan Nan feels really uncomfortable. He tightly closed his eyes, covering his chest, looking very distressed. Huitingan's expression changed suddenly, and without caring about anything else, He hurriedly left with Shernan in his arms. He didn't look back at us again. Just as Watingon was about to disappear, his daughter suddenly called out to him loudly, "Dad." Watingon stopped in his tracks and looked at his daughter. Tears welled up in his daughter's bright, clear eyes as she choked out her words. "Dad, tomorrow is Tong Tong's birthday. You'll be with Tong Tong, right?" The daughter cried until her nose turned red. And seeing this, Watingon felt a pang in his heart and promised his daughter, "Of course, be good. Tong Tong, go home with mommy first, and daddy will come home to be with you tonight." I hugged my daughter tightly, feeling heartbroken, and silently recited in my heart, "Hotin, you have 2 more chances to see your daughter. I hope you cherish them." Back at home, my daughter and I tacitly began to pack our bags. My daughter ran over with a few dolls in her arms, her little face full of anticipation. This is the only gift that Houghton has given his daughter in recent years. I couldn't bear to disappoint my daughter, and besides, the item was innocent, so I allowed her to stuff it into her suitcase. A smile appeared on my daughter's face, and I couldn't help but smile as well, just as we were feeling happy. A sudden noise came from the doorway. My daughter and I looked up, a glimmer of surprise flashing in our eyes. "It's Watingon. He really is back." But the joy was quickly shattered by Su Yue and Shernan, who followed closely behind. "Xiao Yan, Shernan has a fever, and Yue can't manage alone, so I asked her to stay at our house for a few days." Hortinghan looked at me and slowly began to speak. If it were before, I might have felt very sad. But now, I have long seen the weight that Su Yue holds in Hortinghan's heart, and I felt not a single ripple inside. I nodded calmly. Watingon was not satisfied with my reaction. He frowned and asked me, "Don't you have any objections?" I looked at Watingon in confusion. This was his house. He could let anyone move in if he wanted to. What opinion can I have? Seeing me silent, the expression on Watingan's face grew even darker. "The guest room doesn't have good lighting, and Nan Nan is scared. Let them stay in the master bedroom. They'll stay in the master bedroom with him tonight." I felt a sinking sensation in my heart, even though I didn't care. I still felt disappointed. Are you that impatient? Not even waiting for Tong Tong and me to leave. Beside me, Su Yue also seemed a bit surprised. But the next moment, she looked at me with a smug expression. I felt a pang in my heart, but still nodded. I have decided to leave. Whatever happens between him and Su Yue has nothing to do with me anymore. Watingon took a deep breath, just about to speak, when his daughter suddenly burst into tears. I turned around to see Shernan snatching away my daughter's beloved doll. Just as Shernan was about to push her to the ground, I rushed over to protect my daughter. Seeing this, Shernan fell to the ground, throwing a tantrum. "That's the doll mommy loves the most. I want to give it to mommy." Su Yue scolded Shernan. "Nan Nan, be good. Mommy doesn't like dolls anymore. Mommy doesn't deserve such an expensive gift." Tears came to her eyes suddenly, and seeing her cry pitifully, Watingon felt an immense ache in his heart. He said sternly to his daughter, "Tong Tong, give the doll to your brother." His daughter flinched in fear, but after glancing at the doll in her arms, she still argued softly, "Dad, this doll is the birthday gift you gave to Tong Tong. Tong Tong doesn't want to give it to her brother. Is that okay?" Watingan's expression paused, just by looking at his face. It was clear that he didn't remember the doll at all. He probably never expected that the gift he casually gave would be so cherished by his daughter. Su Yue spoke understandingly. "Tingon, don't make things difficult for Tong Tong. That doll is so precious. It's normal for a child to be reluctant to part with it." Watingon came to his senses and looked at his daughter, emphasizing his tone. "Tong Tong, when did you become so stingy? Give the doll to your brother." I knew how much my daughter cherished the gift from Watingon and was about to speak up to stop her. But my daughter quickly handed the doll over, with red-rimmed eyes. She said, "Brother, I'm sorry. This doll is for you. Tin looked at his understanding daughter and felt a sense of comfort. Wanting to pat her head, Tong Tong avoided it. She didn't look at Tin again, turning her head to speak to me. Mom, Tong Tong is tired. Can you take Tong Tong to bed? My heart was about to break. No one understands how sad my daughter is better than I do. Tin seemed to realize that he had raised his voice a bit earlier and spoke to make amends. Tong Tong, tomorrow is your birthday. And Dad will give you a bigger doll. He was convinced that his daughter would be happy to hear it. No one knew that his daughter didn't even turn her head, but softly refused him. Thank you, Dad. But Tong Tong doesn't like dolls anymore. You can give it to Brother Shernan. This was the first time Tin was rejected by his daughter, and he felt a bit uneasy. He wanted to hug his daughter, but just as he moved, his leg was held by Shernan. Looking up again, Xiao Yan had already taken her daughter into the guest room. At that moment, he still didn't know that this was his last chance to hold his daughter, which he had missed. The next day, I took my daughter to the kindergarten to withdraw her. As I reached the door, I happened to run into Tin and Su Yue, who were holding Shernan's hand. Yin frowned, his voice low as he spoke. Why didn't you wait for me? A cold laugh stirred within me. He probably didn't remember. In the past, I wanted him to help take Tong Tong to school because I was feeling unwell. He told me not to play mind games and to make our relationship public. Since then, I have never harbored any delusions that he would take Tong Tong. Su Yue carried herself with the demeanor of a hostess. Yes, Xiao Yan, why did you bring Tong Tong to school by yourself? Ting'an specially drove Shernan to school today. We could have gone together. There was a strong sense of boasting in her words. Unfortunately, neither my daughter nor I will be sad for Ting'an anymore. I was pulling my daughter away, ready to leave. The principal suddenly came out, trying his best to please Tin. Oh, Mr. Hua, you're so busy. Yet you personally brought little Shernan to school. Little Shernan is so lucky to have such a responsible father like you. After saying that, he turned to Su Yue and praised her. This must be Mrs. Hua, right? She's truly beautiful. A perfect match for Mr. Hua. She was so busy flattering that she didn't notice the different expressions on the faces of those present. Tin looked a bit flustered as he glanced at his daughter and me. But he didn't correct her. Only Shernan nodded happily in agreement. My daughter pouted and sadly hid behind me. The principal remembered the purpose of coming out. He slapped his forehead and said to me, Miss Chiao, for this application for withdrawal, you need to have the child's father sign it for it to take effect. Principal. I wanted to stop the principal, but it was already too late. Houghton asked me in confusion. What withdrawal application? The principal was about to speak again, but I quickly interrupted. Nothing. Tong Tong got injured and needs to withdraw from this cultural performance. Tin, without any suspicion, reached out to take the document. Where do I sign? The principal quickly waved his hand. Mr. Hua, that's not right. It needs to be signed by the child's father. Tin suddenly became irritable and spoke to the principal. I am Tong Tong's father. Do you have a problem with that? Ah. The principal was stunned by this bombshell revelation. I didn't know what had gotten into Tin suddenly admitting our relationship. Is this considered charity? But my daughter and I no longer need it. I snatched the document from Tin's hand and said to the principal, Sorry, Mr. Hua was joking. He is Shernan's father. My child, who has no father. Hording was anxious, but he had no way to refute it. He could only hold his daughter's hand and say to her, Tong Tong, don't worry, Dad will sign for you. But his daughter shook her head. Uncle Hua, you are not Tong Tong's dad. Tong Tong doesn't have a dad. With those words, Tin was left stunned in place. My daughter pried Tin's hand open and pulled me away. But behind us came Tin's voice. Xiao Yan, is this how you teach Tong Tong? Since I'm not Tong Tong's dad, I suppose I don't need to show up for her birthday tonight, right? I didn't expect Huitingan would use this matter to threaten me. Anger flared in my heart, and just as I was about to argue with him, my daughter pulled me back. Uncle Hua, if you're busy, just go ahead with your work. I looked down in shock, seeing my daughter with red-rimmed eyes, yet biting her lip in silence. Tears fell from my eyes instantly as I bent down to hold my daughter in my arms and strode away. Huitingan, I will not give you another chance to hurt Tong Tong. In the evening, I prepared a large feast as I had in previous years and ordered a big cake for my daughter. My daughter and I sat quietly at the table waiting for Houghton. But in truth, we held no expectations in our hearts. The wait was merely to allow ourselves to let go completely. Time passed second by second, and soon the hour hand pointed to 11:50. The phone received a message, sent by Su Yue. Don't wait anymore. Tingan is already asleep. The accompanying picture is of Huitingan holding Shernan and Su Yue, all sleeping soundly. It looks so warm, just like a real family of three. I put down my phone, lit the candle, and said to my daughter, Tong Tong, make a wish. There was not much disappointment or sadness on my daughter's face. Instead, she obediently said to me, Mom, Tong Tong is giving this wish to you. I looked at my daughter's lovely face, and my heart felt soft. In the end, I didn't make a wish. The person I love the most is already by my side. I don't need any wishes. Before deleting Houghton's contact information, I asked my daughter if she wanted to say goodbye to her dad one last time. My daughter thought for a moment and shook her head. I glanced at my daughter with relief, threw the phone card into the trash without a second thought, and left the home we had lived in for 7 years with her. Huitingan, we will never see each other again. Su Yue's home. When the clock struck 12, Huitingan suddenly woke up with a start. He checked his watch at the first opportunity and realized that his daughter's birthday had already passed. He felt a twinge of regret. He hadn't intended to miss it. In fact, he had even left work early today, and he had prepared a gift for his daughter's birthday. When he was about to go home, he remembered how this morning Xiao Yan and their daughter denied their relationship at the kindergarten, and he felt a bit angry, especially Xiao Yan, who, knowing he was upset, didn't even send him a message to comfort him today. In 5 years of marriage, this had never happened before. He decided to make her see her position clearly, so he deliberately delayed going back. Just then, Su Yue came over and asked if he wanted to have a meal to thank him for his help over the past 2 days. He agreed. He thought that as long as he returned by 12 o'clock, it wouldn't count as breaking his promise, so he let the two of them worry a bit. It won't be long before Xiaoyan calls him, apologizing and asking him to come back. It has always been like this. Because she loves him, he thought with a sense of pride. But he miscalculated. The fruit after the meal was all gone, and he didn't receive a call from Xiaoyan. He felt restless. Just then, Su Yue brought over a bottle of red wine, and he drank a few glasses. He never expected to fall asleep. Even more unexpectedly, Xiaoyan had not contacted him at all from beginning to end. It was as if she had vanished. This was too unusual. His first reaction was to quickly call Xiaoyan, but the phone on the other end indicated that Xiaoyan's phone was turned off. He was not discouraged and called again. It was still turned off. He felt irritated and turned to text Xiaoyan. Why is my phone turned off? After sending it, he saw a red exclamation mark. Xiaoyan had deleted him. He suddenly stood up, his face darkening. The unease in his heart grew wildly like overgrown weeds. But in just a moment, he convinced himself again. It's okay. His daughter has always been very sensible and likes him a lot. As long as he goes back and sweet talks her, his daughter will forgive him, and so will Xiaoyan. Over the years, he has proven countless times that, no matter what, Xiaoyan will never leave him. Although he thought this in his heart, The act of getting up and leaving still seemed a bit hurried. She opened the door but was stopped by Su Yue. Who came in? The fabric on Su Yue's body was so minimal it was almost negligible. Her gaze towards Hu Tingan was enchanting and full of affection. She bit her lip and coyly issued an invitation. Tingyan, can you not go back tonight? Hu Tingyan observed coldly, confirming that his heart was completely unperturbed, and instead, he thought of Qiao Yan. Qiao Yan had always been shy and reserved about this matter. She would never be as bold as Su Yue. But Hu Tingan particularly enjoyed seeing her helpless yet resigned expression. His gaze was deep, and anyone with eyes could tell he was angry. However, Su Yue didn't notice and thought he had taken the bait. Moving closer to Hu Tingan, the cloying scent of perfume rushed into his nostrils, causing Hu Tingan to furrow his brows involuntarily. He lowered his head to glance at Su Yue, who was lying in his arms with her eyes sparkling, and a mocking smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. Stay. What for? Su Yue shyly punched his chest and whispered softly in his ear. Whatever you want. Then came the mocking voice of Hu Tingan. Your perfume is too strong. It makes me feel nauseous. Those words turned Su Yue's face pale. The scent of the perfume on her was cloyingly sweet. Houghton anxiously took off his suit. The suit worth tens of thousands was thrown into the trash can without hesitation. He couldn't help but think of Qiao Yan again. Qiao Yan never wore perfume, but there was always a faint, elusive fragrance about her. It seems to smell like lily of the valley. This is Qiao Yan's favorite flower. So the laundry detergent at home is all scented with lily of the valley. In the past, his clothes also carried the same fragrance. He clearly liked it very much. But in order to make Qiao Yan feel bad, he stubbornly said that he hated this scent the most. He still remembers the loneliness on Qiao Yan's face when he said those words. After that, his clothes no longer carried the scent of lily of the valley. A sudden pang of guilt struck him, and he felt that he had indeed been a bit excessive towards Qiao Yan over the years. He realized that he had never given her flowers. So why not bring her a bouquet tonight? Qiao Yan would surely be very pleased. She was just that easily satisfied. But when he opened the door, holding the lily of the valley he had specially asked the designated driver to buy and the gift he had prepared for his daughter a few days earlier, what greeted him was a room shrouded in darkness. Turning on the light, he was met with a large spread of dishes prepared by Qiao Yan on the dining table, most of which were his favorites. But unfortunately, they had already gone cold. In the center, the ice cream cake had melted, with cream oozing everywhere. Everywhere exuded the feeling of people leaving and the tea growing cold. He swallowed hard and called out to someone. Qiao Yan. Tong Tong. No one responded. He walked to the bedroom, and there was no one there either. The wardrobe door was open, and he walked over to take a look. Not a single piece of clothing belonging to Qiao Yan was left. His daughter's wardrobe was also completely empty. The lily of the valley fell. Its petals scattered all over the ground, but he could no longer think of anything else. Frantically dialing Qiao Yan's number over and over again, on the other end of the line was always that cold female voice. Sorry, the number you have dialed is turned off. Ah. He slammed his fist against the cabinet door, blood trickling down along the joint. It hurt a lot, but it couldn't compare to the fear inside him. In 5 years of marriage, this had never happened before. Qiao Yan would never allow herself to be found missing by him. He sat down, rarely beginning to reflect on himself. Could it be that he had really gone too far these past few days? Qiao Yan and her daughter's unusual behavior seemed to have started after the accident at the kindergarten, but he had only let go of his daughter after seeing her arrive. He admitted that he had indeed been a bit closer to Su Yue these days. However, he really just wanted to annoy her a little. He had never thought about having any kind of relationship with Su Yue. Clearly, he had done even worse things in the past. She even deliberately smeared lipstick on her collar for her to see. Qiao Yan wasn't even angry, but now, she has disappeared with her daughter. There were no signs at all. He floated to the dining table like a wandering soul. taking bite after bite of the cold food into his mouth, murmuring as he ate, "Tong tong, happy birthday." Unfortunately, no one responded to him anymore. At 7 a.m., the door suddenly opened. Hua Tin-gon, who had been sitting by the dining table all night, brightened up and sprang to his feet in surprise. "Qiao Yan." But what came in was a strange middle-aged woman. Hua Tin-gan's smile froze on his face as he warily asked who had come. "Is this Mr. Hua?" "I'm the nanny arranged by Miss Qiao. She said she was going on a long trip and asked me to help you with household matters." Hua Tin-gon asked eagerly. "Did she say where she was going?" The nanny smiled. "I wouldn't know about that. By the way, sir, Miss Qiao gave me this ring yesterday and asked me to take care of it. It looks quite valuable, and I wouldn't dare to keep it." Hua Tin-gan's heart skipped a beat when he saw the ring. This was the wedding ring he had given to Qiao Yan. Qiao Yan treated this ring as a treasure, never willing to take it off. But now, she had thrown the ring away. Hua Tin-gon was in a state of panic. He suddenly realized that he too had been abandoned by Qiao Yan. As soon as the thought emerged, it made him ache so much that he could hardly straighten his back. Suddenly, he remembered what the principal had said yesterday, as if he had grasped a lifeline, and picked up his phone to call the principal. The call connected, and he got straight to the point. "What is the reason for Huan Niantong's withdrawal?" His tone was stern, and the principal did not dare to delay. "Ms. Qiao said the child's father is in Huagua, and she wants to take the child there to reunite." Hua Tin-gon was at a loss for words. Had he ever gone to pick up Tong Tong even once in these years? This lie would have fallen apart on its own. He regretted it. But at this moment, that was not the focus. Hanging up the phone, he immediately booked the fastest flight to Huagua. He was going to bring Qiao Yan and their daughter back. In this lifetime, he would never be separated from them again. At this moment, in Huagua, my daughter and I are immersed in the joy of new beginnings. Over the years, although Houghton has not given love to my daughter and me, he has not been stingy with money. I took most of it to invest, relying on my good investment instincts. In these past few years, it has multiplied several times, enough for my daughter and me to live a high-quality life for a lifetime, with looks, wealth, and leisure, a grateful and obedient child. But no husband, no longer having to wait at home for someone who rarely comes back, and no need to exhaust myself every day preparing 3 meals. No need to carefully guess another person's thoughts. No need to endure his emotional coldness, nor to care about who he truly loves. In your own home, do whatever you want. Is there a happier life than this? My daughter loves our new house very much. Mom, this is the princess house. She excitedly pulled me to jump around on the princess bed I had specially prepared for her. Such behavior was strictly forbidden at home before. He doesn't come home often, but every time he does, he is eager to set rules for us. No talking during meals. No speaking at bedtime. We must not make loud noises at home. We must walk quietly and carefully. At the slightest displeasure, he will look at you with an expression of utter disappointment. You feel utterly ashamed, and can only apologize, ultimately yielding to his wishes. Now, in our own home, we no longer have to abide by these ridiculous rules. Do whatever you want. After dancing for a while, my daughter ran over to me and said, "Mom, can we have fried chicken for lunch today?" Her bright, clear eyes looked at me. I smiled and gave her little nose a gentle rub. "Of course we can," my daughter happily exclaimed. "Yay." Then she cautiously asked me, "Mom, can we live such a happy life every day from now on?" My eyes stung with emotion. I somewhat regret that I divorced too late. My daughter has clearly grown up brightly under the nourishment of love. Yet, because of a man who doesn't love us, my daughter has experienced the anxiety of gain and loss at such a young age. Becoming sensitive and cautious, I held my daughter tightly and solemnly promised her, "Of course, Mom promises you that you can live this happily for the rest of your life. My daughter nodded in my arms. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, and I thought it was the delivery. Happily, I opened the door. Why so soon? When I saw the person standing at the door, my smile froze on my face. Quintingon stood at the door, looking haggard and travel-worn, as if he hadn't slept all night. He was also holding a huge Hello Kitty doll and a cake in his hands. My daughter, seeing that I hadn't entered the house, curiously walked to the door and was surprised to see Quintingon. However, Quintingon smiled at us as if nothing was wrong. Tong Tong, Daddy is here to celebrate your birthday. Tong Tong glanced at him, then at me, and with a sidelong glance said to Quintingon, Daddy, Tong Tong's birthday has already passed, and Tong Tong doesn't like Hello Kitty. Quintingon's expression stiffened, and he obediently tossed the doll aside. Does Tong Tong like the cake? Later. Tong Tong will tell Daddy what you like. Daddy will definitely make you happy. I shielded my daughter behind me, interrupting Quintingon's impromptu performance. Quintingon, stop pretending. Save your fatherly image for Shernan. Upon hearing my words, Quintingon's eyes lit up, and he confidently spoke. I knew you were jealous. Stop making a scene. Qiao Yan, come back with me, and I promise you, you'll never see Su Yue again. On the way here, he had already decided that he would live well with Qiao Yan from now on. Su Yue naturally lost her value of use. I looked at Quintingon's confident expression of as expected and couldn't help but want to raise my hand. How did I not notice before that he was so greasy? I couldn't be bothered to waste words with him, so I got straight to the point. Quintingon, I've already signed the divorce agreement, and the lawyer will contact you in a few days. I don't want any shares in your company. I only want the property and assets under my name. And our daughter will be with me. As long as you sign, my daughter and I will never appear in front of you again. I spoke to Houghton in a businesslike manner. The smile on Houghton's face vanished in an instant. He stared at me intently, trying to find a trace of jest on my face. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. I was serious, looking into my eyes. Quintingon suddenly felt a bit scared, because there was no longer any love in my gaze. He pressed his lips together and forced a smile as he said to me, Qiao Yan, I do not agree to the divorce. I have not done anything to wrong you. I will not divorce. I looked at Houghton in disbelief, trying to see just how thick-skinned he could be to say something like that. I raised my voice to question him. Houghton, have you really done nothing to wrong me? 5 years ago, it was you who acted recklessly while drunk. Yet you play the victim and shift all the blame onto me. Impregnant. And you ran off to reminisce about your deceased first love with Su Yue, casually tossing me a ring and expecting me to marry you, after 5 years of marriage. You often subject me to emotional abuse. And when our daughter was born, you didn't even glance at her. Now that she's grown, have you held her more than 10 times? Have you even kept count? You won't let our daughter call you dad at school. Yet you allow others to mistakenly think you're Shernan's father. When an accident happened at our daughter's school, you abandoned her to save Shernan. And what about this Hello Kitty? Did you really give it to our daughter? Or is it just an excuse to give it to Su Yue under the guise of her birthday? Which of these matters have you treated me and my daughter fairly in? Isn't it you who deceived me first? My accusation did not shame Quintingon. Instead, it made him furious. I was taken aback by his shout and instinctively asked him, when have I ever deceived you? Quintingon became even angrier when he saw that I wouldn't admit it. He said he fell in love with me at first sight during the student council interview. Originally, he just wanted to fit in and join the fun, but after seeing my confident and bright demeanor during the interview, he was instantly moved by me. He, who has never liked crowds, endured his irritation to play house with me in the student council just to spend more time with me. Upon receiving the confession letter I wrote him, he thought we were mutually in love, but Su Yue told him that I didn't like him at all. The letter was written by me on her behalf. Interacting with him was also at her request, to help her gather information. When had Huitingan ever been toyed with like this? In a fit of anger, he agreed to sue Yue. I originally planned to wait until we met to see my reaction. Who would have thought that as soon as I saw him, I would shyly hide away. Later, he quietly went abroad. This further confirmed that I was just playing with him. He and Su Yue muddled through 2 years of dating like this. There wasn't much genuine emotion. So after graduation, when his company ran into trouble, Su Yue didn't hesitate to dump him. He wasn't sad. It was just that I happened to show up at that moment, and I even put on an act as if I was deeply in love with him. He was sure I was acting again, just quietly watching how long I could keep it up this time. He watched me, frazzled for his company, drinking cup after cup at the negotiation table. He saw me bustling around for him, yet still smiling at him like a little son. The brighter my smile, the stronger the hatred in Huitingan's heart grew towards me, because he realized that he could still be easily influenced by me. Drunken promiscuity was just an excuse. He simply wanted to tie me to his side. Afterward, he pretended to be annoyed and reluctant. I fell for it, clumsily explaining that it was fine. Huitingan gritted his teeth. Fortunately, heaven helped me, and I actually got pregnant. He deliberately disappeared for a week, then reappeared, casually mentioning marriage while intentionally not holding a ceremony. I didn't expect that I would accept it all without question. After the wedding, he intentionally treated me coldly, even pretending not to care when our daughter was born. He didn't believe she could keep acting, but he didn't expect that I had been consistent for 5 years. Just when he couldn't hold on any longer, Su Yue returned. He thought he was testing me one last time. If I pass this test, he will forget the past and love me well in the future. He said he regretted it when he saw me and my daughter sad because of Su Yue and her son. He just can't bring himself to apologize to me. Qiao Yan, believe me, from beginning to end, I've only loved you. He held my hand and confessed his feelings deeply. He thought I would definitely be moved, but after hearing it, I only felt a sense of desolation. I never expected that the events of that year would take an unexpected turn. I never expected that Huitingan and I would be played around by Su Yue like this. But can we really blame Su Yue for that? If only the two of us had been a bit more honest back then, and if Huitingan had trusted me a little more over the years. How could we have wasted so many years? I suddenly felt exhausted, as if all the strength in my body had been drained away. At this moment, I finally understood that true heartache isn't about loud arguments, but rather the feeling of powerlessness, the kind that makes you not even want to speak. I waved my hand and said to Huitingan, Huitingan, you can go. I've made up my mind. We really aren't suited for each other. Huitingan grabbed me. Qiao Yan, I've already told you. I've loved you all these years. What more do you want? I want you to never show up in front of me again, to never disgust me again. I forcefully shook off Huitingan's hand and yelled at him in anger. Houghton was taken aback by my shout, revealing a look of grievance. Qiao Yan, you think I'm disgusting. I sneered. Isn't it disgusting? Houghton, just because of your self-righteous suspicions, you have neglected me, belittled me, and exploited me all these years. You have made me anxious and cautious. You have made me lose my expectations for marriage and my longing for love. You have caused me pain for so many years. And now you tell me you love me. Do you understand what love is? We have been married for 5 years. If he had even a little love for me, we wouldn't have come to this point. Huitingan was left speechless by my words. He opened his mouth but couldn't make a sound. I didn't want to say another word and stood up to close the door. Huitingan pressed his hand against the door, and I looked up in anger, only to be startled by the crimson in his eyes. In my impression, Huitingan had never lost his composure, and I was momentarily taken aback. There was confusion and pain in his eyes, But he stubbornly spoke up. Xiao Yan, my mind is very chaotic right now. I feel like something is wrong. I will figure it out. Just wait for me. I won't get a divorce. I absolutely won't get a divorce. Wait for me. Wait for me to sort things out. And then I'll come to pick you and Tong Tong up. After saying that, without waiting for my response, he stumbled away. A hint of sarcasm flashed in my eyes. At this point of irony, Houdingen was still so confident. On what basis did he think that if he said he was wrong, I would turn back? The daughter looked at Houding's back and murmured, Mom. Dad said to wait for him. Does Tong Tong believe it? The daughter shook her head. I smiled. I don't believe it either. It no longer matters whether he comes or not. As soon as Wu Tingan arrived at the airport, he received a call from Su Yue. He let out a cold laugh. Very well. He was just about to look for her, and she came knocking on his door. Su Yue felt a hint of anxiety and surprise upon seeing Wu Tingan. That night, the way he looked at her was too frightening. She was a bit worried that she was being too eager and might annoy Wu Tingan. So today she was even more careful. He said he didn't like the scent of her perfume, so she didn't wear any. Tingan, you just got back from your business trip. You must be hungry. I made your favorite dishes. She reached out to pull Wu Tingan, but he dodged away. Wu Tingan threw the things in his hand right at her face and asked her, Do you have anything to say? Su Yue was taken aback when the envelope hit the ground. And upon seeing it clearly, her face turned pale. This is the letter that Xiao Yan wrote to Wu Tingan back in the day. She never expected that Wu Tingan would still keep it. She smiled faintly and pretended to be shy as she spoke. Tingyan, I didn't expect you to still keep these letters. I'm really touched. Wu Tingyan didn't expect her to be so thick-skinned. He was somewhat impressed by her mental fortitude. He spoke coldly. I'm giving you one last chance. You'd better tell the truth. Su Yue knew she couldn't hide it from him any longer. So she simply admitted it. Yes. Back then I deceived you and also deceived Xiao Yan. But who told her to praise you in my ear every day, making me fall for you? And besides, even though the letter was written by her, you liked my face, didn't you? After I came back, you treated me so well. Isn't it because you love me? Su Yue's words made Wu Tingan feel as if his heart was being cut with a knife. All these years, he had been misunderstanding her. No wonder she was so disappointed. All these years, they should have been mutually in love. It's all because of this woman. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't have spent so many years in a twisted way, loving each other without realizing it. Wu Tingan glared fiercely at Su Yue. You think you deserve this. If it weren't for Xiao Yan, do you think I would even spare you a glance? Being nice to you is just to make Xiao Yan jealous. Otherwise, do you really think I would forgive someone who abandoned me? Especially someone who's second-hand? Wu Tingan's words were merciless, and Su Yue's face instantly turned crimson. She looked at Wu Tingan in disbelief, but Wu Tingan grabbed her by the neck. You'd better not say another word, because you have no idea how much I want to strangle you right now. The hostility in his voice made Su Yue obediently shut her mouth. Shernan in the room heard the commotion, ran out, and upon seeing the scene, cried and hugged Wu Tingan's leg. Daddy Hua, please don't hurt mommy. At this moment, Wu Tingan hated the mother and son intensely, but he wouldn't go so far as to do anything illegal. Someone has come to deal with this liar full of deceit. Hoardingen clapped his hands, and a limping man walked in from outside. As soon as Su Yue saw the man, she screamed in terror. You filthy woman. I've finally found you. Dad, please don't hurt Mom. Wu Tingan stepped out of the room, kindly closing the door behind him to shut out the noise. Long before Su Yue returned to the country, he had sent someone to investigate her. He knew she came back because she had cheated on her husband and conspired with her lover to steal her husband's fortune. Later, abandoned by her lover and left with nothing, Tai Hui returned to her country. Her husband had been searching for her all along. Huitingan only lent a helping hand. After dealing with Su Wei's matter, Huitingan hurriedly set off for Huagua again. He wanted to tell Qiao Yan that he knew he was wrong. He would use the rest of his life to make it up to her and their daughter. Just as he was about to rush to the airport, he suddenly received a call from his assistant. A key project at the company had encountered a flaw, and it was imperative for Huitingan to handle it. He had no choice but to turn back to the company. By the time everything was sorted out, it was already the evening of the next day. He had hardly slept for 2 days and nights and still needed his assistant to help him book a ticket. The assistant advised him to rest for the night and go the next day. But he couldn't wait. The assistant had no choice but to help him make arrangements. On the way to the airport, he was resting with his eyes closed when suddenly the car was hit hard. He abruptly opened his eyes, just sitting up straight when he was jolted again. Huitingan suddenly realized that this was intentional. Before he could be surprised, the car crashed into the guardrail, and he passed out on the spot. Just before fainting, his last thought was that he was going to disappoint Qiao Yan and his daughter again. After Huitingan arrived, I was contemplating whether to move. I hadn't thought it through yet when I received a call from lawyer Huitingan. After hearing the lawyer's words, I froze in place. The lawyer called to inform me of Huitingan's death and the matter of the inheritance. It turned out that on that day, Su Wei had tempted her resentful husband to kidnap Huitingan in order to save her own life and extort a hefty sum of money. Her husband was tricked by her into losing everything and drowning in debt. He had long since become a fugitive. As soon as Su Wei mentioned him, he was moved. They asked Huitingan for 100 million. Huitingan agreed. But they didn't expect that Huitingan's phone had an automatic alarm system. The police arrived quickly. In a desperate situation, Su Wei's husband killed Su Wei and Huitingan, then committed suicide. Because I have not divorced Huitingan yet, I am naturally the first heir to the inheritance. In an instant, I became a billionaire and the president of a publicly listed company. Sitting in Huitingan's office, I couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia. The twists and turns of life are truly hard to grasp.